Can he start signing offer sheets? Can he start signing offer sheets already?
Yeah, at the beginning of free agency yesterday at 401.
And we
For those that can have the 2 picks available to give up, right? It's those
we
teams.
are live. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to welcome everybody to the Sports is My Love Language podcast. Big show tonight, man. So much to talk about. The thing about sports, man, it's the gift that keeps on giving. There's always something rolling around, especially with the NFL. So we're going to dive right in. So much going on in the NFL as far as free agency. What are we learning? Free agency ain't free. There's a lot of people taking hits. Did it make the splash that we thought it would day one? Nah, I'm not sure. But as it starts to evolve and it starts to roll, we notice that there is a huge the ball is starting to roll now. The ball is definitely starting to roll, and we're starting to see the big names come out. We're going to see where people are going to start to land. And as the draft comes closer, the combine ends, we're really going to start to see where the chips fall. And I'm really curious to know what everybody's thoughts were on who were the winners, who were the losers. Petey Pablo, let's start with you. But first, let me introduce my crew first. I want to start it off like this, man. As always, welcome to our barbershop. Welcome to our living room where we talk sports from a different angle. I got my man Petey Pablo, aka El Schefter. I got my man in Colombiano Javito. What's going on, Javi? And I got my man from my brother from another mother, my man Jay, coming in with all the cat talk. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. Petey, what are your thoughts? Winners, losers? Let's go.
I think overall, I think right now my winner is Chicago, given the amount of money that they had available and the pieces that they put together. Getting DJ Moore, trading out, getting picks first. Number one, I think that was what a lot of people probably expected them to do. So they got picks to trade back down to number 9, I believe. They got DJ Moore in the trade. They've been bolstering that defense right now in free agency. They signed Tremaine Edmonds out of Buffalo, who's a good linebacker. They signed TJ Edwards out of Philly. He's a good linebacker. And I think they're going to probably attack the offensive line during the draft. I believe they also signed. Who's the running back that they signed?
Montgomery?
No, he's gone. He's in Detroit. Uh-huh. But they'll find a running back. They have Khalil Herbert right now, and there's a plethora of decent running backs out there because it's a saturated running back market right now. So I think that's kind of my overall right now. I think loser right now. I mean, I haven't seen anyone like shit the bed per se, except maybe for Baltimore because they're not really doing anything right now. Dealing with the Lamar Jackson stuff, but they haven't. I mean, they re-signed Justice Hill, but other than that, I mean, they haven't lost people either. But other than that, I can't really think of anyone that is like really just right now shit in the bed. Like, oh my god, what are you guys doing? You're not doing shit. You're not doing that. You're losing everybody. And you're not signing anyone. I haven't really been seeing that. I was actually pleasantly surprised at what the Saints have been able to do, given the cap hell that they were coming into free agency with, and still being able to get some of those pieces signed. Getting Carr, re-signing Jameis. They just signed Jamal Williams from Detroit. Because we think Kamara is, he's going to miss a few games more than likely. But I think overall that's kind of my high level winners and losers, and then I mean I have thoughts about each division on there if we want to attack it after we get everyone else's overall thoughts.
Yeah. Let's keep it going. Javito, what are your thoughts? Winners, losers, free agency.
I'm just gonna say one thing, baby. My Giants look like they're getting a lot better. I'm not liking Rodgers going to the Jets, but I kind of like it just for the fact that I get to basically just frown on him a little bit more because I don't like the guy. So now he's on another team that I just really don't like anymore. So let's go Dolphins, let's go Bills, let's go Patriots. You know what I'm saying? After Jets. What do I got to say more? I don't know, man. I thought the Raiders, even though they got Jimmy G and they kind of compare him to Derek Carr, I always felt like, why are we comparing Jimmy G to anybody, which we always knew that if it wasn't for Shanahan, I think I think he's just another quarterback that might be a backup quarterback, right? But we'll see. Hopefully the Saints prove the Raiders wrong, because now I'm kind of like rooting for the Saints to do more. And I got nothing else, man. Obviously, I don't know what if the Eagles are doing much at this point. It looks like they lost a couple of their key defensive players at this point.
They kept Fletcher,
Actually,
they kept Slay.
I'm actually really surprised.
I'm
that
surprised
But
too.
they were able to. Actually, that's one of the teams I was going to mention.
Yeah, but like they what was the other guy that got like 11 sacks? Hargrove is his last name or something like that.
Yeah,
So I don't know, man. Listen,
Brandon Grant came back. He stayed.
I applaud the Cowboys. Did they cut Zeke already?
Yes.
All right, so good job, Cowboys, because I think we've been trying to say that for like about 2 years already.
I don't know, man. That
it's
might be
not-
addition by subtraction.
It-
They might actually
but-
be better because of that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, even though I don't root for the Cowboys and I pretty much hate the Cowboys, it's still a good move, and I got to be honest about it. Terry Pollard's ready. Pollard's ready to take the role and just take off with it by himself at this point. But other than that, man, like I said, go Bills, go Patriots, and go Dolphins. Fuck the Jets.
Okay. Jay, go ahead. I'll go last.
Well, we kind of touched on. I mean, as much as I hate them, and I'm not gonna lie, I hate the Eagles like with a passion. Like, but man, we were talking about. I'm really surprised all the guys they're able to keep. Like, usually, you go on a Super Bowl run, everything like that. You lose everybody. Usually, that hits free agency. And we heard Slay was going to be traded, and then getting cut, and then keeping him. Like, I don't know. That's some magic, man. Like you said, they kept Graham. Kelsey's coming back for what is his 14th year, but still, like, you know what I mean? I know, but he's coming back still. They got James Bradbury back. Everyone thought he was gonna be gone, for sure. So as much as I hate to say it, and then as much as I hate to say it too, I mean, it's really a division thing. Like, I'm surprised what the Giants have done. They got Waller, traded for Waller for what? What they trade for him for? Like a 5th round
The 3rd round pick they got for Tony.
And then
We pretty much we traded Tony to get Waller. That's what it seems like more than anything at this point.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that was gonna be exchange.
Right now, I mean, I don't
picked up-
know. I mean, you can talk about how you feel about Daniel Jones. I don't know yet. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm a little weary of the contract, but look.
I mean, they signed Paris Campbell, which I liked. I think he was the second best
He
receiver.
stays hurt, though. He stays hurt.
I know, but he was still the second best receiver out there behind Jacoby Myers in free agency, which is not saying much. I know it's not saying
What's
much
the
about
best trait? Availability, right?
Right, exactly. It's the same thing with Waller.
Same
It's
thing
the
with
risk.
Waller.
But what I'm saying is, given the free agency of wide receivers, I wanted Jacoby Myers because he's not an injury question. See, he was the best receiver available. But Paris Campbell to me would have been the next one in terms of skill sets. So I'm good with that. I didn't expect them, unless they were going to trade for like Hopkins or something like that, them to get a top-notch wide receiver. I expect, especially after getting Waller, if he's healthy, he can help dictate a lot of things for the other guys, and those other guys don't have to be like elites.
Right.
So I think Paris Campbell's good enough for that, and then maybe get one more out there, like I know this guy's another guy that's injured, but I like his skill set, like DJ Chark or something like that, to complement that. You know what I'm saying? On the other side with
I mean, that
Slay
man
and-
go after OBJ. Go get OBJ back.
well, if they want to pay the money, sure. I'll take that all day, but
But,
they don't have the money
also-
right now. They don't got the money right now.
The
And then
funny thing about
they also signed that dude from Indy, that tackling machine linebacker, Bobby
Yes.
Okereke, or I'm sorry for butchering his name.
I'm still learning the name too.
He had,
just call him Bobby. Just call him
There we
Bobby.
go. We'll call him Bobby. I mean, I heard
Yes.
wasn't he like top 5 in tackles this year?
Yeah.
Memory serves,
Yeah.
if not
He's
leading.
pretty good.
So, I'm sorry to cut you off there, Javito.
No, it's all good, brother. Keep on going, my man.
Mike's got to go though. Mike, who you got?
All right, so
He's got Jets. Big winner and big loser.
no, believe it or not, man,
At the same time.
believe it or not, my Jets got an incomplete for me. My Jets are getting an incomplete, bro, because the package that they got to put together,
What that costs.
get him, is a little suspect. It's a little funny. I'm not, and then he was never my. I'll be honest with you, and this is gonna maybe against a lot of people's reasoning. I would have been like, let's go get Lamar. You know what I mean? Personally, because it just matches up with young players, young talent. It just matched for me better. This guy coming into New York, He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder with the media. He don't all-time talent. Don't get me wrong, but we don't know what he's like with brand new receivers. You know, is he dedicated? Will he be there more than 2 years? There's so many questions, man. I have to give them an incomplete. So that's where I'm standing with them. I'm gonna go another incomplete grade goes to the Bengals. The Bengals got Orlando Brown to shore up their offensive line, but they might be losing Joe Nixon, you know what I'm saying, for the year. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that
Didn't they
goes.
like not? Didn't they say they're not pressing charges
Yeah.
or anything, right?
Yeah,
They're
and
not-
they
I know they're not.
yeah,
okay,
he's good. He's clear.
No, and the Bengals said that they're not. Was it the Bengals? The NFL said that they're not going to do anything.
Okay,
I
so
thought
they
he
get
said, like,
positive.
charges drop or
Okay, so
something.
they go into the positive thing because they got Orlando Brown to shore up that offensive line, which I really like. They did lose defensive players. A couple of teams lost some defensive players, man. Minnesota. There's a couple of teams out there. So the winners for me in Chicago. That guy he just straight raped the Panthers. And now the Panthers are like, we're not sold on a top quarterback. We might do the same thing and drop back. Nasty. I don't know. We'll see. I think the Packers overall might have lost. You know what I'm saying? They lost one of their veteran receivers. They haven't really replaced them. They lost obviously their quarterback. Hopefully, if they believe the backup is ready, we will see.
Dude, they didn't sign one person in the top 100.
Yeah, they don't. Who the hell wants to go play? I'll tell you who else lost. The Panthers lost. The Panthers lost big time, bro. They have nothing going on over there. I think they signed Andy Dalton. Who they signed? Andy Dalton, right, as a backup or some shit. I don't know. They haven't signed anything.
They signed Miles Sanders. They signed Hayden Hurst.
I don't mind about it.
They signed Von Bell, the safety.
Nothing that's gonna.
But they already had a good defense coming out of last year, so they shored that up.
My bad.
It's going to be predicated on whatever rookie quarterback they take.
Right.
My bad. The best signing this year was Baker Mayfield to the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Hilarious. Oh, hilarious. Look at hilarious.
They signed Dalton, but Dalton's he's not going to be the starter. He's just a veteran.
Of course.
Just a veteran backup. The rookie's going to be their starter. And they have Sam Howell too. So
yeah.
So like we could just anoint the NFC South as probably the worst quarterback division.
Oh, easily.
I mean,
bro.
as a whole, yeah. But I mean,
Yeah, as a whole, as just a pure division, that is the worst quarterback division right now. Period. I mean, and to think about it, like I'm not, I don't think that Derek Carr is basically a great quarterback, but that's the best quarterback in the division right now.
Yeah, it's not saying much, but you're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty bad, man.
I think the Chiefs didn't really do much either. They kind of I don't think they had to do much.
They don't have to.
There's a couple of teams out there, man.
Juju, where did Juju go to? I know he's not.
New England.
He went to New England.
So New England's putting together some, what do we say, decent to good pieces, but I don't know if that's going to do anything. Especially if Rodgers, when Rodgers gets traded to the Jets, you're still going to be the fourth team, with the assumption that Tua is going to be healthy. With that assumption,
and that's a big assumption.
It's a big assumption. It's a big assumption. But they added James Robinson. They added Juju.
They added Mike White. Mike White went to
Miami.
Mike effing White.
Wow, bro.
The deal.
The legend, Mike White.
Legend.
Out of Miami.
You better be ready to play.
Somebody said that the Chiefs signed. Is that Tyler Lewan? No. They signed Lewan. The Titans.
No.
That's Monica Lewinsky. No, that's what it is.
No, they signed Jawan Taylor.
Yeah, Jawan Taylor, not Tawan.
Okay.
Not Lewan.
Okay, yeah. Tyler Lewan teases. He teased about the Chiefs.
But Orlando Brown going to Cincinnati, I think that's a huge win for Cincinnati.
That is a huge win for Cincinnati. Oh my God,
huge. All they needed to really do was shore up more of that offensive line. They were pretty good, and then all of a sudden the injuries bugs started hitting them towards the end of last season.
Yep.
And that's pretty much what kind of like.
And if they get those guys back, which the expectation is, then that line is going to be nasty.
and they got a pretty good defense, you know. And considering Eli Apple's still there, you know, like that would be an A defense, but Eli Apple makes it a B+ defense, you know.
Yeah.
What do you call? How about this? What do you call? Yes, Brulanda was talking about the Dolphins. They got Jalen Ramsey for
Yes.
sure.
And he's technically their number 2, right? Their number 2 cornerback.
Well, they have who's the other one? It's
Xavier Howard.
Right?
Xavier
Howard.
Xavier Howard, who's really good.
Ugh.
They got rid of Byron Jones. Well, Byron Jones is hurt and all that stuff, and they brought in Jalen Ramsey, and he doesn't have to carry the load like he would carry it in other defenses.
They can mix and match those two corners on the number 1 and play it however they want.
Yeah,
It's not a matter of whether Xavier Howard's always going to have the 1 and Ramsey the 2. It could flip.
What I would do to watch one of those practices.
Yeah, if you really, and that's why Uncle Brew. Shout out to Uncle Brew. The thing is this, right? I see what he's saying, right? Their team is pretty much the most talented team in that division at this point, the Dolphins, right?
Mm.
You know,
I don't know. Don't talk to Mike about his Jets. He might be.
No. And let's talk about the Jets because I still
talent-wise, you could argue the Jets. You could argue the Jets have.
Who has the better receivers?
You have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle.
Okay,
right?
Okay, wide receivers. There's other positions in the team. I'm talking about overall.
Okay, but listen to me.
Mike
You're comparing 2 rookies, guys that are veterans, all pros. Come on, you can't.
Nobody said that they had better wide receivers. We said overall the team.
I'm talking about overall.
He's talking about overall talent.
Couldn't you say the difference between the Dolphins offense versus the Jets offense is the same difference as the Jets defense versus the Dolphins defense? The same difference. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
You don't think so? You don't think the Jets defense is a lot better than the Dolphins defense, and the Dolphins offense is a lot?
Hold on a second. Wait, listen. Let's go corner for corner. You now have Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey. I love Sauce Gardner and Reed, but we're not Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard.
No,
we're not.
They don't have a Quentin Williams either.
Right. No, but they have Wilkins, the tackle. They got some good players. Listen. I don't know. It's close, but I just think that they have a little bit more of a veteran presence, and that's why I would give them the edge.
No, I would give them the edge.
We're still, because here's the deal: the Jets are still dealing on potential offensively. We have a lot of potential. We haven't put it into work yet. If we put it into work this year and we show something, then I could look at you guys and be like, yeah, man, talent for talent, we're there. You know what I mean? But a guy like Wilson, I would like to see him with a real quarterback. Imagine him with a real quarterback. He's going to be a monster.
All right, fine. I'll admit it's the Dolphins because they signed Braxton Berrios. There you go.
Oh, yeah, Braxton Berrios.
He was on the Jets, so that's all it was. He had to move from the Jets to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's all it was, bro.
Hey, it's not a bad number 3, right? The 3 slot receiver right there.
All right. So what do you think of okay, there's a couple of moves coming up, some potential situations. There's still a lot of free agents, man. Nobody of consequence that I think is gonna make a huge splash. But the guys that are still out there are Lamar Jackson. We still have
Gardner Johnson.
So
yeah.
Yeah, so at running back, you've got a lot of familiar names. You got Zeke, you got Fournette, Kareem Hunt, Ingram. You have actually Deontay Foreman just got signed. You know, it's like good pieces. Like if you get a couple of these guys and you don't, you know what I'm saying. And plus, the draft is running back heavy.
That's what I'm saying.
Too.
A lot of these guys won't see contracts probably until after the draft's over.
Yeah. So you could kind of just fill in, you know, those little holes. Wide receiver is a hot mess as far as I don't know if you've looked at it, Jay. Like what's left out there, you know.
Nothing.
You know, I mean, Thielen. I think Thielen's the biggest name, and I think he's talking with Buffalo. Maybe he may reunite with Diggs.
And OBJ, right?
And OBJ. So, but then you got like Robbie Anderson, Aguilar, Chark, Cobb, Marvin Jones, Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry.
What about Eckler? Eckler didn't get signed, man. They let him go explore free agency.
For trade up.
Eckler's out there to be traded.
No one's going to give him that contract. I mean, apparently he's going to want a lot of money. No one gives running backs money anymore, man.
Yeah.
I feel bad because he's a running back, and I just feel like the NFL should restructure the way the running backs contracts are doled out. They should be front heavy. They should be front heavy because they're not going to get paid in their second contract.
The position has no value.
No, it does have value. It diminishes greatly over time, at a rapid pace. Because you got a good running back in the first 2, 3, 4 years, he's dominant, and then he falls off the map.
But I'm saying the teams are not doing that anymore. They're running multiple backs.
But that's what
That's
I'm saying.
why it's diminished. So you're not going to sit there and say, "Whoa, let's get this guy and pay him a bunch of money." But even though we're going to use two other guys, we're in the rotation. Why are we going to sink in that much money? The way the offenses are running, who was the bell cow last year? Right off the top of your head, who's the bell cow?
Eckler was a bell cow.
Okay,
Eckler-
name me 10 more.
No. See, no, that's what I'm saying.
So if the teams are not doing it, if the teams are not doing bell cow, why are you going to sit there and advocate for front heavy for a running back? If he was a bell cow, fine. If you're going to wear him out,
That's what I'm saying.
fine.
Like this guy,
But
There should
teams
be
don't
something
do that. Teams don't do that.
I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is they need guys that have multiple skill sets, and it's just not allowing running backs to filling that. Because here's the thing, the position will start to gain value again because now running backs are starting to become wide receiver. Have wide receiver skills and be able to do everything that needs to be done.
Which is
Whereas-
Eckler.
Right, to where now, just how the thing about everyone wants to get faster now, right? So what's happening? Everyone's getting lighter. Linebackers aren't 250 no more; they're 230. You know what I mean? So the same thing's gonna happen with the running backs. They're all going from 225. They're all going to 210, 215, around that area. They need to be pass catchers. So you're just gonna have that gap of generational running backs. They're gonna be learning now how to be passed. They have to be.
Yeah. Now, if the NFL offenses shift the way it started to a little bit late last year, where because of the light, it's side to side running, right? Because of speed, and a couple of teams were all of a sudden pounding the ball, even though they may have been rotating running back, but they shifted to the way they started attacking the game. If that makes defenses then adjust, because now the defense is slated to play receivers, open field, right? And then I was trying to remember what teams were doing. A couple of teams that were doing it, they just started stacking and running the ball, old school, right? Old school way, off tackle and all that other stuff. If that ends up shifting down the road, then now you have to then, as the NFL does, is now shift again with the type of players that you're picking up. But to your point, Jay, but that's what I'm saying is because you need multiple skill sets, or you can even Kansas City does it. Kansas City puts two running backs out there. A couple of teams are doing that, putting two running backs out there, the one that can catch, the one that can run. So I don't see why you would advocate front loading a running back contract when they're a rookie if you're not going to use them. If you're going to constantly be rotating him in and out, you're just not going to hit your cap like that. It just doesn't make any sense from a cash perspective, especially if your QBs are going to be taking up the majority of your cap, which is what the trend is.
I don't know. I still think there's special guys out there that there's always going to be outliers, and there's people that still don't want to see it. So
I'm curious to see if Bijou Robinson will be that guy this year. That rookie.
I think he will. I don't see why he won't be.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. There's gonna be more of him coming out now, guys like him, because that's what they're all learning now.
That I felt,
or Gibbs out of Alabama.
There's two positions that I felt that have fallen off the map as far as value in the NFL. Where before these were like, if you played any type of peewee or whatever, those are the positions you wanted to be in. With our middle linebacker and running back, dude. Middle linebacker and running back, it's just hard to justify the amount of punishment you take to even play those positions anymore, man. And let me tell you something. The skill set you have to be a middle linebacker, and the brain you have to be a middle linebacker. It's sad that the position is being undervalued the way it is. You know what I mean? But that's a conversation for another day. Okay, what do you call it? Let's talk briefly. I don't want to dive too far in because we can go down a rabbit hole. Just give me your opinion on what you think is going to happen with Lamar Jackson.
No.
He's going to end up back in Baltimore.
Go ahead, Pablo. What are your thoughts?
He's going to end up back in Baltimore.
Back in Baltimore.
There are still a couple of teams out there that have two first round picks and that need fucking quarterback, and should be kicking the tires, at least having the conversation. Just to your point, we were talking before we started, is to see really where he's at. You know what I'm saying? To hear it from the horse's mouth. What do you really want for your compensation, right? And that is, like you mentioned, the Colts. And I'll probably say the Commanders is the other one. The only thing about the Commanders, though, is that because of this uncertainty about the selling of the team, if Snyder does that new big contract that he would give is not on the hook for him. It would be for he potentially sells the team to. So then if you want to sell the team, the new owners are saying, I'm coming in now with that big ass bill. And it might kind of tell potential owners, I don't know, right? That's really the only thing. But from a football perspective, why not? All they did was sign Jacoby Brissett, so they haven't really done anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think they're really the only two teams left that off the top of my head that I can think that that need a quarterback for sure, and have the picks obviously, because a lot of people have been throwing out San Francisco and Miami, and right now they can't
Atlanta doesn't have
because they don't have a first round pick. Now after the draft, it's open season. Anybody can do a sign and trade.
They don't have to give. They don't. You don't have to give 2 first-round picks.
To sign the offer sheet, yes, for the
No, you
non-exclusive.
do. No, you do not.
Yeah, you do.
He can sign the offer sheet and it's a different agreement. It's been done before.
But not till after the draft.
No, not true.
Wait,
I'll find
Give us the-
Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry was given the franchise tag. It wasn't traded for 2 first-round picks.
I have to look it up.
I was under the impression
I was under the impression you had to have
Fact,
2 first round
you had to be
picks.
2
Right.
first
You don't have
rounders
to. Team
for the non-exclusive.
What was that?
I thought it was for the non-exclusive. It was 2 first-round picks was the compensation plus matching the contract or whatever. Signing them. Those were the things.
That's always I always thought the non-exclusive to be. It's 2 first round picks.
I mean, that can be, but a team doesn't have to take it.
No, but non-exclusive is either team's going to match or they're going to say no, have them.
Right.
But what team is not going to take the 2 first round picks if that's what the required compensation is?
Do you think there's a chance that he sits?
There's no chance the team will say, oh, you know what, give me a first and a second. It ain't gonna happen.
Do you think there's a chance that he sits on that contract if he gets the 32 mil? That he sits out.
No,
If nobody makes a move, he should
he's not
fucking sit.
sitting out.
I
What?
think so.
If
What's
nobody makes a deal,
How'd that
And-
work
and-
out for Lev Bell?
How about what?
How'd that work out for
I'm
Lev
not
Bell?
saying I'm saying is what else recourse does he have
No,
if he's not happy?
$30 million, guys. Like, come on now. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, listen. You're thinking.
and here's the thing: if he gets hurt again,
Your
let's say he just his knee's swollen. He's like, I'm not playing, man. I'm not playing. My knee's swollen again. It's swollen. I'm not playing. No, I'm out. Just like he did before.
If
Why
no
couldn't you
team, if
think?
no team makes a move for him, if no team makes a move for him, he either has to sign that tag or not.
Right.
to let them
And
know.
if he chooses not to sign it and he's gonna sit because he wants to get paid, what are you gonna do? All he has left is not to play. That's his only recourse left. If no team makes a move for him,
And I'm pretty sure that impacts if they hit him with the tag next year because he didn't sign it. I don't think he gets the double rights like he does before.
no, but that's the after effect of that.
Okay, so you're just giving the team another year of control to put you through hell.
But that's what he has. That's why you need an agent. That's why I think we all agree. Like,
That's nothing. Look, here's the thing. First and foremost, he can have an offer sheet today, right?
yeah,
Why doesn't he have one?
What do you mean?
we haven't heard
Why
anybody offering.
Lamar is what everyone says he is, and everyone's supposed to be scrambling at his door like he said they were. How come he doesn't have 3 offers right now?
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about that, and we can talk about how it's not collusion, but it is collusion. You know what I'm saying? And maybe not that by definition.
No, but what team would you say Mike has to be doing it right now?
Said, all of us looked around at each other and said, I looked at owner A, B, C, and D and said, I can't say it out loud, but none of you motherfuckers better pay no guaranteed $250 million or we're all fucked. That's
an overall principle. It isn't about Lamar Jackson.
right. No, but that's what I'm saying. He's asking why nobody's knocking at their door. I'm telling him because that's what happened. They all looked at each other and said,
Well, some of the teams are saying, why are we going to do the homework for Baltimore?
and that's the other thing. Why are we gonna go and find out what Lamar is willing to pay if we're just gonna get rejected?
So I have a question though. Here's the thing: wasn't Atlanta willing to give Deshaun Watson a full deal, fully guaranteed? So what's the difference?
What?
If everyone knew there was multiple teams that were offering Deshaun Watson fully guaranteed contract, what the hell's the difference?
No,
in
what
that?
happened?
No.
What happened last year was
Him.
Cleveland got told you're out of the running. Cleveland got told you're out of the running,
So they got desperate.
and they got desperate and made the fully guarantee offer.
Did
That wasn't
Atlanta come in too?
not with
But they
fully
just didn't offer
guaranteed.
as much.
No, but they weren't fully guaranteeing the contract. They weren't
Nobody
saying
else-
it's fully
nobody else
guaranteed.
gave him guarantee.
Nobody was offering that. They were offering whatever deals, this much and this guaranteed and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Then Cleveland got told you're out of the running, and they're the ones that came back at the last in the end and said we'll just give you 235 fully guaranteed. Don't worry about it. It's all guaranteed.
Here's what I just
And that's
wanted
what
to
happened.
Terry on the whole Lamar thing. Here's what's bothering me, and we talked about it before we went on air about how he needs an agent to protect him from the bullshit that the Ravens are pulling right now. The Ravens are using fucking Adam the Puppet Schefter as a puppet to give him bullshit information so that he could put it out as fact. Now,
Nah, bro, nah,
wait.
man.
No. Yeah.
Nah,
You
you're
know,
so wrong on this.
Did you
So
read?
wrong on this.
Okay, so he puts it out, right? And then Lamar says, that's not what happened, right? And then Peter King comes out and says, No. I'm going to contest this because I'm gonna read you guys what Schefter is claiming is guaranteed. You cannot use injury clause and guaranteed in the same sentence. He tried to say, "Oh, they offered him up to 200 million guaranteed because if he got hurt, he'd get the 175." Initially, it's 133, but if he gets hurt, it's 175. And then somewhere in there, there's a
Well, no, it was
springboard.
133 at
Brings him up to
signing.
200.
It was
to 200.
133.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
133 at signing,
at signing.
175 guaranteed total, which would have blown.
Only if he got hurt. Read the contract. Only injury clause 175. If you don't get hurt, you only get the 133, and then you get portions of your what do you call it? And then there's a springboard that can get them up to 200. No. You cannot use those terms and say guaranteed in the same sentence. That means it's literally not guaranteed.
So, I mean, the only question I have about all this is that was offered in September. What has happened since then?
What happens is they offered 3 years, 133, and that's it. And that's
No,
what
I mean, I'm not asking like someone knows the answers. Like, we don't know what other
Right,
people
yeah,
have been talking about.
whatever, you
Because
know?
you're not going to tell me that they haven't spoken since September, because we know that's not it.
No,
So
but
we have two positions to start. We have that position in September from the Ravens, and we have what Lamar says is I want more than Deshaun fully guaranteed.
yeah, and my shit is
Where
this.
have they gotten to from then? Up
I
to
just
what
think
point?
my whole point is it's fucking shady how they're able to leak information and then put it out as fact. So now we're reading it and we're thinking, yo, Lamar's crazy. He's not taking this.
Like, I don't care. I don't care.
And in reality,
I don't care about the leaking because both agents and players on their side and teams do the same shit. They play
Right.
the same game. So I don't want to hear that if Baltimore has got this advantage.
No, what I'm
that
saying
Lamar-
is
that
they
Lamar
have the
doesn't
advantage
have.
in this negotiation. They're doing it, then they have the advantage, and it sucks. And I'm with you because
What advantage
I'm
do they
saying they
have that
should've
Lamar
had-
can't do? What advantage?
No. You see, here's what happened. He came out on a tweet and says that's not true, and now I'm listening to the radio, and they're trying to paint him as, oh, well, he's going to come off as disgruntled. He's going to come off like
But you said that they're using what advantage is there that Lamar doesn't have?
using
Lamar
the
can't
media.
speak. Lamar can't leak things either.
Oh,
His
they're
camp
using
can't
the
leak.
media. They're using the media in a way that he cannot.
Oh, yeah, I'm asking you, why doesn't Lamar do the same thing?
Well, I mean, I think that's a trick that you would need with a seasoned agent.
No,
I don't know if you're just able to remember. That's a strategic move because you have to do it in such a way where it's laid out as fact. And if you're the one laying it out, it's always going to be
Okay.
tainted with
Here's
your
what he said.
attitude, with your opinion, with the fact that you're disgruntled. You know what I mean? It could always be painted in a different way.
I just don't see how he's at a disadvantage. He has the same capability to put
It's not
stuff
that,
out.
man. Yo, the Ravens gave him the ultimate thing a player wants. Like, yo, we'll call your bluff.
That's what That's what the non-exclusive
what he
is.
did. And they're like, all right, bet.
That's what the non-exclusive tag is.
I
That's
know.
what we said
And they're
last
like,
week.
bet. They're like, bet. You think you get a
They
better
called his
deal?
bluff.
Go get one. And he's not.
But that's also telling me you don't value me.
Why? Okay, here's what they said. Okay, it was
No, I don't
fully
believe
Hold
that.
on.
Yeah,
it
I
was
don't
fully
believe that.
guaranteed at signing was 133 million. Fully guaranteed at signing. So as soon as he signs that dotted line, $133 million check.
Right.
That injury guaranteed. So if he got hurt at any time during this deal,
If he got hurt.
right, he would get 175 million.
If
he does not
got
get hurt, if he does not get hurt, he gets 200 million guaranteed.
Where? Show me where it says that. Where did it
I
say
just
that?
read it to you. Fully guaranteed at signing, 133. The
Right.
Injury guaranteed, 175. Total guaranteed, 200 million. So if
Yeah,
he gets hurt,
yeah.
he gets
Total
175 million. If
He
he doesn't
said
get
there's a
hurt,
springboard because it's actually written in there. There's a springboard. Something has to be triggered for him to get that full 200. It says it in there. There's a springboard. What do you call
he
it?
got plays games. If he
No,
doesn't
no,
get hurt,
see?
he gets the
Then
money.
that's not guaranteed, Jay. You can't use that language and guarantee in the same sentence.
Why?
If it's
Because
guaranteed, then
games.
If
he
it's
gets
guaranteed,
hurt-
that means I don't have to do shit and I still get it.
what? Dude, if he
Guaranteed
gets
means I don't
hurt,
have to do anything and I still get it.
he could play one game and his career could be over and he's leaving with 175 million.
Right. We're not debating that. We're debating the fact that he
Bro,
asked.
that's
he
more
asked-
than anyone's ever made. That's more than anyone's ever got by a lot.
No, it's not. Deshaun Watson gets more. It's
Yeah, the
not.
outlier. The outlier.
Okay,
And that's
you know
that's
what?
my.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say this again about outlier contracts. Do you know? Remember Nasim Asamoah? Namdi
Yeah.
Asamoah?
Yeah.
You remember him? Remember when
Yeah.
he signed that awesome contract with the Raiders? When was that? 2000 and
And he immediately got hurt.
right. No, here's the thing. You know how much he was making then? 16 million. That was what, 15 years ago? Dude, guys are just up at 20 now.
Yeah.
That shows you how little the cornerback market, a valued position on the NFL field, one of the valued positions, has only gone up $4 million over 4 years over like the last like 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
That just shows you how an outlier contract gets squashed.
But it's simply not true because the quarterback market is
I
only
just
going up.
told you why it's not true. And it's happening again with Sean Watson, fully guaranteed. Squashed.
The owners
I
don't want to do it.
Here we
They're
go.
not going to do it. The owners are
Don't
not going to
tell
do
me
it.
how much. Don't tell. Ariel Valenti says, "Don't worry about how much I value myself. You're telling me how much I should make. You're bugging. It's true. He should get it all. He's an MVP. The team is shit without him. They can't win without him, and it's proven. We saw that this year.
Okay, but Mike, I don't want to hear people say you're worth what the market is willing to pay you. And then when a team says go talk to the market, and if
Now
it doesn't come back,
That's
with
what the
Now
market says your
when it's
value.
manipulated, you see,
it's
we
not
can all agree
manipulated.
it's
It's not,
manipulated.
what is the manipulation?
Because
Okay,
they
so
looked at each
question,
other in the
so
room
question.
and said, nobody better fucking go and give guaranteed contracts because it's gonna ruin
That doesn't mean he's not going to get paid.
it.
Bro,
You
you
want
know
the
what it is?
you
I
see
think
you're one of those guys that
guaranteed.
believe that the bar is now Deshaun Watson. That is
I
what
think-
you're saying. You're saying the bar going forward has to be Deshaun Watson, and the owners are saying it's not going to be. We want to keep it the way it's been going before that.
Right.
Nobody had a problem with no owner had a problem with Mahomes getting $500 million. It was because of the structure, but they don't want to fully guarantee $250 million to one player.
Well, then unfortunately,
That is not
for
the norm. That is not the
unfortunately
norm.
For them, the Cleveland Browns shit the bed, and they did it. And once they opened up that box, guess what? I'm walking through it if I'm Lamar. You know what I mean?
But he can't. He doesn't have the leverage. He doesn't have the leverage.
Well, we'll see. I think
So I have
time.
a question.
Man,
Okay.
So let me ask you something. Let's be real here. What's the difference between him getting 5 years? What did Watson get? 250?
235.
235. Okay, so let's say what's the difference between him getting 5 years and 250 versus getting 7 years and 250? Like, if he gets 250 million guaranteed, like you said, what are we talking about now? Because they there's 2 extra years.
Because
out
and
there,
Lamar has never
you're
given
still
any.
setting the bar.
Yeah, exactly. But it's how you structure. Because Lamar has never said he wanted to be the highest paid per year, average per. He doesn't care
Hey,
about
if you
that.
want a fully guaranteed, then I'll give you 3 years and I'll give you 180 million. Let's go.
They didn't offer that. You see, they didn't offer that. Tell them that. They didn't offer that. Offer that 3 years, 180
But
million.
Mike, we're operating from the perspective that Lamar wants more than Deshaun fully guaranteed.
Right.
If that is the position that he is holding, it doesn't matter if you tell
That
him
we don't know.
3 years at 180. But that's what's being said about him.
Right, and I think that's part of the disservice. We don't know what's
Then
back.
he should come out and say that's not what I want. That's not what
but
I'm
here's
saying.
my point. How can you say it's not true with the lack of offers? If that was not true, if it was not true that he wanted a fully guaranteed contract,
There'd be
he
offers
would have
out there for
So
him.
many offers right now.
I don't think he would. I think
What?
he's been
You
played
don't think-
already.
You don't think Atlanta
No,
would
no,
offer
I
a
think
Mahomes deal?
the Ravens.
You don't
I
think
think
Atlanta
the
would offer
Ravens
him
are a
10 years?
respected organization that is playing their cards right. They looked around and said, "Hey, listen, we're not giving him." Everybody knows he's not going to get Deshaun money. He's not going to get that version of the contract, right? But what he's doing is he's hedging his bet to get something very close, comparable, and fully guaranteed. He's like, I'm an MVP. I'm the star of this league in this league.
I don't think that's what he wants.
Bro,
Because
what doesn't make sense there is teams would have
teams would have had those offers for
He would have had them
for,
already.
We will see.
You don't think someone? I have a question, man.
You're
Let's
telling
say
me, Mike, that
Jets-
Lamar, if someone came to Lamar and says, we're going to offer you 4 years, 200 million guaranteed at 50 million a year, that he's going to say yes?
Yes, I think
That's
so.
that's not a lot. That's not a lot for certain teams right
Don't
now.
forget
And you
that.
would have
Forget
heard
even
that.
that.
You
Forget
would have
that.
heard that. You would have
Forget
heard that
that.
by now.
We'll
Here's
see.
my
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. It's gonna come out. We'll see
Let's say
where it
I don't
goes.
think he's going to get any offers.
the Jets were to offer him 10 years, 600 million. You don't think he'd take that?
I don't know, man.
Structured
I'm
in a
just
certain
saying,
way.
dude,
Structured
what-
in a certain way where you get a certain much up front and then,
Dude,
which
I'll
you know
give
you're
you
going to
10 years,
restructure and you're going to
600
restructure
million,
in 5.
and 300 guaranteed. Let's go.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. This is
You know
gonna have
what
to
it
play
is?
itself
You know what
out.
it is?
It's gonna have to
You
play
guys
itself
want
out
to
because
break
not enough
that?
facts. This is gonna have to play itself out because, and this is my point. We don't have enough accurate information.
And
You
I
know,
love these comments where he only needs 1 out of 32 teams. No, it doesn't need 1 out of 32 teams. Take out the teams that have their quarterbacks already that we're not going to fucking do it. You think Kansas City's going to do it? No. You think Philly's
No,
going
what
to do
he's
it?
saying is that it
No.
doesn't matter who does it. Only one team has to step up. It doesn't matter.
But
who it is.
let's be real about it. How many teams realistically are there to step up and do it? How many
And
teams
Pro Bowl,
realistically?
what he's saying is the
you
Pro
can
Bowl is
honestly say who is team
only
who is
one.
guys less. I mean, you wouldn't like the Giants to go get him. I don't give a damn if they just sign this guy to a contract. I'm trading him tomorrow.
No, but it's the mindset of the teams. Is to say we have our guy, right or wrong. If the teams have said we have our Miami said they're out because they're believing in Tua for this year. I don't think they should do that, in my opinion. But that's what they're saying. So when I say that there's lesser teams, it's because of the mindsets that you see these teams saying. You automatically know which teams are not even going to contemplate because they don't have to. There's a handful of them, right? I'm not saying that there's like 20, but we know there are certain teams that are. Jacksonville has their quarterback that they believe in. Kansas City, the Chargers. Who else do we got? Cincinnati. Like there's those teams. Buffalo. Those teams we know they're not in it. So I'm just saying if we want to have this conversation that only takes one team, well, let's realistically look at.
Leaving out a lot of teams, bro.
I know, but then there are other teams. Okay, but New Orleans, yeah, but then and you know this. Now you got to look at the cap and say, okay, should the Saints have been in it given their cap fucking hell?
No.
It doesn't mean that they wouldn't have not wanted him. I'm not saying that they don't want him.
He's pushed cap hell to another year.
Okay, but it depends what you can negotiate with someone that is, as far as we know, from the position of I want over 235 guaranteed. It just depends on where that position really is for Lamar Jackson. Because you're right, you can make the numbers work, but it depends on that position. And we know the owners are not in that position. So that takes out a lot of teams. So I'm just saying, do the realistic math and say, well, what team is realistically going to be able to do it?
Dude, you can't use the cap as a reason why someone can't get.
I'm not saying that that's the only reason. But
so if it's quarterbacks, what, 10 teams? Maybe. That can't use Lamar Jackson. That cannot.
Well, that we know that there's.
So you're leaving out 22.
Well, 21 minus the Ravens because he's there.
They can still use him.
But I'm saying, but you automatically know. I mean, they're the ones. They're the ones pushing this narrative. They're the ones pushing the narrative.
If he doesn't get his contract, so what you talking about?
I just don't think he's going to get an offer.
You need to put him right in that list, bro. You need to put him right in that list.
I just don't think he's going to get an offer.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on.
We can talk about this in circles for days, dude. Because it just, like I said, man, there's just information that has to come out. We don't know what was actually offered, what wasn't. What he's claiming. It gets a little confusing for me, man. But it's exciting to watch. I want to see how it unfolds and how it develops. Petey, what do you have next on the agenda for the convo?
WBC. Anybody been watching?
Oh, yo, let me tell you something. The WBC is doing it right, bro. They are doing it right. That's how baseball should be played all the time, bro. Like the excitement, the level of like, holy shit, bro. Watching Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico play, I actually had to drive by there.
Dominican Republic shit the bed.
I had to drive by there, and I'm not even talking about the actual game. I'm talking about the fucking atmosphere. Dude, it was like...
Yeah, that was a party.
The Puerto Rican and Dominican Day Parade all in one. People playing bands and music outside. Yo, it was dancing salsa, merengue in the streets. I was like, bro, what is this, some kind of independence parade, bro? This thing was phenomenal. I was like, holy shit. And then it's not the only one. You watch even teams that don't have a history in in the sport, like Italy with their espresso machine in the dugout. You know what I mean? There's so much cool shit to watch, bro. I'm a huge fan of the WBC, except for what happened to the Mets. Except for what happened, Petey. What the hell's going on with the Mets, man? You guys are
it's not what's going on with the Mets. It's just a freak injury that happened. He was celebrating with his team and tore his fucking knee.
Yo, that is crazy.
And then if you're the Dodgers, you're a little bit raising your eyebrow because Freddie Freeman tweaked a hammy playing for Canada. And the season's about to start soon. And, the hammy's a hammy, right? Soft tissue injury. But other than that, to your point, Mike, yeah, the atmosphere has been great, at least for the games here. I don't know, the other places where they were playing the other pools, but the games down here, man, it's more exciting. I mean, that Lone Depot Park has more action just in that one game than the Marlins have as a whole throughout the whole year.
I'm telling. I'm starting to wonder. I'm like, will the MLB? You know, I know they play in Mexico and Canada and all that stuff. Will they ever just maybe build a stadium somewhere in Dominican Republic, bro, or in Puerto Rico? You know what I mean? And just create a whole division. Imagine that, like, you know what I mean,
bro? No.
What?
No, because the owners want that income here.
Yo,
Well, technically, it actually would benefit the owners because any income made in Puerto Rico is not taxed. It's not federally taxed.
That is true.
They actually would make more money.
That is true.
and I'm sure they would.
I didn't realize. I didn't think of that. You're right.
But
But
I don't know.
They're doing it right because the countries that are basically playing, like Puerto Rico, Dominican, Venezuela, there's an excitement because that's a way of life over there, right?
Exactly.
Baseball is basically life.
Yes.
So the enjoyment behind it is pretty much what they do every single day. When they live baseball as well. It's part of just their culture. So that's why it's been amazing to watch. And, I know that we was talking about Miami, but I was kind of surprised when I watched Colombia play versus Mexico, and they're playing out in Phoenix, and the Mexicans were going crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it's just nationality pride at the same time taking over. And Latinos, when it comes to pride, they're out there. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what team, what sport it is. There's just a pride behind it. But when you're talking about the game of baseball, especially in the Caribbean area, that's just a way of life. And that's why there's so much excitement. They're all into it. And you know what? You're absolutely right, Mike. They're doing it right. And I'm hoping that it filters in more and more into the MLB because you want to see excitement, right? And now with the pitch clock being and the games are going to be faster, there might be just more excitement towards it when everything is just so much faster, quicker, boom, excitement. And all right, here comes the next pitch. So hopefully now baseball goes further with this.
There's a contradiction going on in baseball. One of the contradictions is inside the stadium, okay, where they want to make the game more exciting, yet they're still selling the first 15 rows in each stadium to
corporate.
Yeah, to like corporate, whatever. You're not going to get that family fun. Even if you've been to minor league games, you see how much fun they are, bro. Like I never forget in Jersey, I used to go watch the Bears, and I used to go watch in Montclair, in Yogi Berra Stadium, and I absolutely loved that. I used to take my kids that I worked with, and I absolutely loved it because of the family. And then you would go to Yankee Stadium, I'd have premium seats right behind the dugout, and by the third inning, I want to go home because it was slow clapping and etiquette and all that bullshit. It made me so annoyed. As a matter of fact, I have to say, Citi Field is a much better experience than Yankee Stadium. Much better experience as far as fan-wise. You know what I'm saying? You have more fun. Because that corporate environment is destroying baseball. It's destroying the in-park feel.
Sports.
Yeah. You're sitting there and you're watching the game and you're around all these corporate guys that don't want to, they're in a shirt tie. They don't want to go crazy. And you want to go nuts because you're a fan and you paid a lot of money for these damn seats, yet you got to hold back. And as a matter of fact, they'll kick you out of Yankee Stadium. You're making too much. Oh, you got to go. You got to move. You're like, what the fuck? I just paid $300 for these tickets. Are you kidding me? And it's bullshit. I think that's the contradiction. It's the owners with money because there's a lot of money in those front seats. And there's a lot of relationships built on those sponsorships and everything. But I think overall for the game, it would behoove them to really make those areas family friendly, fun, and not all the sections should be family friendly. Some of the sections should be adult friendly, where people are gonna get drunk and they're gonna talk shit, they're gonna have fun. That they should start doing. You know what I mean?
They should just leave kids at home all the time. Fuck. Sorry.
but I noticed that about the WBC. It's fans having fun, and and if you look in the front behind the dugout, it's that guy that saved his money. You know what I'm saying? That works as a cop. The other guy that works as a fireman. Whatever that saved their money. They really wanted to come down and catch these games at $100 and something bucks. Like
we need an environment like it was in the movie Major League.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, it's funny. Yeah, exactly. Let's have fun. Let's beat a drum. And that's the other thing. You'll see the instruments and the people banging the da-da-da. Yeah, that's fun, man. You want to be in that stadium. I remember we went to go see Mets Marlins, and I told you that. I was like,
Yeah.
it's surprisingly a very fun atmosphere, bro. Like I didn't think it was gonna be, and it was. It was dope. And I think that the problem with the Marlins is they only get that when they play the Mets. Every other game is fucking terrible. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the contradiction Major League Baseball is going through, man. I think they really need to like pay attention to this WBC, what they're doing right, and absorb some of it, and really make it bring the joy back into the game. This game is a game that should be for like 12-year-olds, not 45-year-old men.
Nah, you're being generous. It's older than that.
Yeah, 65-year-old men back in the day when Babe Ruth was.
That's the fan base right now. It's the old school, really old school, depending on who you ask.
I mean,
But
here's my thing, real quick. I just want to ask Javi real quick because he seems like he's really into this. Like, so like with like I didn't watch the game per se, but I watched highlights and stuff like that. Like, a guy makes a great hit, a major hit or a home run or whatever. Like, they're sitting there flipping bats, running up and down. But you know what the thing is? The pitcher ain't getting all butthurt about it, being like, "Oh, you hit my ball. Oh, no. How about you pitch a better ball, mother effer?" You know what I'm saying? And that's what takes away from it. Because then they're like, "Oh, you can't show me up." Really? Because I just did.
Yeah, those unwritten rules, those unwritten baseball rules are killing baseball.
Right.
But that's the whole thing. But the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the Cubans, the Mexicans, the Venezuelans, when they strike you out, they're pumping their chest too, and they're letting you know. And the batter's not getting upset.
No, I'll see you again.
Exactly. But take a look at who gets upset. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't come from the Latino culture. The Latino culture is about being brash like that, and yeah, exactly. And then the opponent, who is also brash, understands it, and they're not taking it personally. Yeah. They're just, all right, I can't wait to hit again. Yeah, that's it. It's always about the next at bat or the next pitch, and and that's what it is. Those unwritten rules got to go. Once the unwritten rules go and all this fun starts taking over and the brashness comes into, you're going to see a lot more people getting involved and wanting to watch
in the United States, right? My opinion is in the United States, the reason why they put such a hold on that is because they don't want it to trickle down to the kids. You know what I mean? I think that's really the reason, man. They don't like the way it trickles down because
have you seen the parents at Little League games?
You'll watch a Little League game, watch a Little Leaguer all of a sudden flip a bat, all of a sudden do all kinds of shit.
I would love to see that.
They try to kids humility, be humble, be whatever. Don't flip the ball to the referee when you score a touchdown. Act like you've been there before. You know what I mean? That's that attitude that they really have in baseball. Like you've been there before, You
act like you've been there, but if you're hitting a home run in a World Series, I mean, how are you not getting juiced? How are you like?
I'm with you, Jay.
You're hitting a big hit in the WBC. You got Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, basically brothers. Sitting there having a game against each other. How are you not going to get juiced?
Especially in the game of baseball. I understand there's times that people say, oh, what Mike was saying is just act like you've been there before, or it feels like every single time somebody makes a 3-pointer in basketball, they're throwing up the 3 sign to everybody, and I see the kids doing it now, but I think if anything, if there's a sport that actually needs that, it is baseball, because it's boring to watch.
It's way on the other end of that spectrum of.
Yeah, that's why there's more excitement to watch a basketball game and a football game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're watching a baseball game and you're just there you're kind of waiting for that hit, and then when it happens, it's like it's gone right away. But when there's that emotion and an excitement of that guy saying, yeah, everybody, now the crowd can get into it even more. And that's what I'm saying is with baseball, the
only time in baseball you get that is playoff baseball. Playoff baseball at the very end, when it's a tight series, you'll get all excited or whatever. But watching, I can't even believe I said, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I went to Jersey, and I had Prime, my aunt works for a company, and we had this amazing Yankee tickets, literally I could see the players right behind the third base and whatever, first base each time that I went. And I'll never forget the first time I went with a group of friends. We were getting saucy in the thing, so it was fun. I went back-to-back nights because my other friends wanted to go, so I was like, all right, I got tickets, come on, let's go. And we sat there dude, by the third inning, I was like, God help me, this is the most boring shit I've ever seen in my life, bro. I got to get the hell out of here. Yo, by the third inning, I'm looking at them like, you guys ready to go? You guys ready to go? You guys ready to go? Because this shit was horrible. It was horrible. And I'm like, yo, and I'm thinking to myself, why is this so bad? I'm looking around, and I see a bunch of suit and tie, buttoned up people, give golf clapping. That was fantastic. Yeah, and meanwhile, I want to go ape shit. When I see a hit, I want to go nuts. But every time I get up, I see a security guard walking over like, sir, do you mind? It should be the opposite of that. Encourage me to go fucking nuts. Encourage me to go crazy. Wow, that's the only thing that's going to save baseball. Putting the youth back into baseball. That's all it is. That's the only thing that's going to save baseball is injecting youth back into baseball.
So you want to hear something crazy? Because we had a comment from Danny Lopez, and it reminded me. I have seen some clips of the Savannah Bananas. I don't know if you ever heard of the Savannah Bananas. It's a minor league team.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
So a couple of days ago, was it yesterday? I don't remember when I heard that they were trying something different for extra innings. And I think basically it's 3 different levels, right? So like the first extra inning, there's only one outfielder. So the only way to win the game is that the batter has to score the inside the park home run. So if the batter hits the ball into the outfield, it's one outfield out there that's got to go and get it, and the other guy's trying to run inside the park. If nothing happens there, the second level is there's nobody in the outfield. So if the batter hits it, the pitcher's got to run his ass to where the ball is and get it back in the fucking field of play. I know there's a third level, but I don't remember hearing what it was. But could you just imagine you just sitting there in a minor league game and they got extra innings and they're just gonna do that and you're gonna fucking be cheering the guy on if he hits it into the outfield. Run, you fucking, like get around, Like, I mean, I'm not saying Major League Baseball should do that, but I'm just saying it's.
I think they're off to a good start with the pitch with the pitch clock and the batter's back blocked.
It's gonna bring more contact hitting into baseball. It's not gonna be longer guys trying to hit the home run.
All right, yo, let's we're gonna dive into this real quick. For the first time, right? For the first time, Vegas's odds on who's gonna win MVP have shifted, and it's now Joel Embiid has the lead. He's the leader in what do you call it? What's your opinion, man? What are your thoughts on the MVP race? Do you still have Jokic? Do you have Embiid, or do you have Giannis? Is there anybody else that you have that you would give a vote to?
So last time we talked about this was a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that, right? I still had Jokic, but not by like just like done type of thing, right? Giannis was in the conversation, and Embiid was in the conversation. Tatum, I think, might have been the fourth guy, kind of a little bit out there, but still in the conversation. But what's shifted is that Denver's kind of like fallen off a little bit. I mean, it's not that Jokic's stats are necessarily bad or anything like that, but it was almost like kind of like last year where Embiid was leading, and then Jokic caught him.
Mm-hmm.
But albeit for different reasons, Embiid got hurt and things like that. Albeit for different reasons, he missed some games. But it's kind of flipping now. Like Embiid has just been balling. And yeah, while Joker's consistent, the team is for some reason faltering a little bit. And I think that perception, in fact, that Embiid wasn't that far behind anyway. And you could have arguments, and we had the discussions about the stats and how close they are.
I'm going to ask the group.
I think the visual is what's kind of shifting the narrative.
You take out. So let's play this game. You take out Giannis, you take out Embiid, you take out Joker. Which team falls apart faster and deeper?
Denver.
Whoa,
I think Denver, because I think Philly still has Harden,
right.
So you could maybe make the case. We've seen Milwaukee play really well without Giannis. That was when Middleton was healthy, right? Giannis, would miss a few games, and they still played well. But I don't know if you take out Joker that Murray and Murray and Aaron Gordon and those guys will hold that first place spot, right? If we sit there and we have to talk about, okay, what are we saying? If Joker's out 10 games, or any of these guys are out 10 games, 15 games,
potential amount of time.
I mean, 1 or 2 games, no one cares. But yeah, if a significant amount of time, like 10 games or more, I think in the long run, I think Denver will fall off more, because I still think that with Philly and Milwaukee, they still have something or someone that can hold it down. Whether it's Harden being a superstar, or just I've seen Milwaukee do it without Giannis when he's been out for a few games. Where I don't know, you can't tell me that those other guys without Jokic would be able to hold it down. for a significant amount of time. That's really, and I'm not saying it was quick because I thought it through, but I'm just looking at it from that perspective of the personnel who would be left on those teams.
What are your thoughts? Who do you think, if you take out one of those superstars, which team do you think falls off the greatest?
First, before I get to that, I want to give a shout out to De'Aaron Fox. All right, from the Sacramento Kings. That kid is a baller, and he should be in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I agree.
I'm just gonna say it
I won't argue that.
That kid's been a baller all throughout the whole season. They're number 2 in the Western Conference right now. All right, and that's all because of him. Because you can't name another Sacramento King player really off the top of your head. All right, but anyways, if he was to take somebody off,
Brunson for MVP.
But he's definitely the MVP on the Knicks. I know people want to give it to Randall, but he's the MVP. Jalen Brunson's the Knicks. But anyways, I started to think about what Pablo was saying, and I started to look at Michael Porter. I'm looking at Gordon. I'm looking at Jamal, whatever his last name, the Canadian. Those are 3 solid pieces, man. And with Caldwell Pope. So I'm thinking that really in reality they have better pieces to keep it going. But the one thing is that offense is run through the Joker. Yeah, and that's the big reason why I say you take them off. I still think they'll be good.
How much would they lose defensively?
Well, he's not a good defensive player.
Not much.
Yeah, he's not really that good of a defensive player.
That's why I feel like we undervalue.
What's their rank defensively now, though? I'm asking because I don't know.
I don't know, but I don't think visually. If I just go by look, I don't think they lose much defensively compared to you take Giannis off that floor. Remember, we were talking offense. Okay, offense, I'll give you. It's very comparable. The 3, whatever. But if you take Giannis off that court defensively, if you take Embiid off the court defensively,
I think I'm gonna have to go with taking off Embiid. I think the Sixers. As much as we want to say James Harden's not the same player he was from 4.
He's a facilitator now, bro. Give him props for doing that and giving up that rock. He's definitely giving up the rock.
The only thing I'll say about the defense comment, and I mean this generally about defense in the NBA. What defense in the NBA? If you really think about it, compared to the way the offense is
relative to today's game. Let's keep it then relative to today's game. And his defensive prowess is legit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to compare.
No, I'm not disputing that. I'm saying yes, of course he's the best defender, and that will impact you as a whole. Well, maybe you could argue Giannis might be the better, but I get what you're saying. But I'm just saying defense in the NBA, really. I mean, especially 2 guys that are in the paint, really.
Yeah, I mean that's the difference between I don't know. You can't just diminish the side of the ball. It's like saying special teams doesn't matter on.
No, but what I'm saying is that his defense as a whole is not necessarily prevalent to what the NBA is.
Doesn't mean you can't.
All 3 teams will suffer defensively.
But if
out of all the teams I think we talked about, the one that would suffer the least.
I'm not saying that they're going to suffer equally. They would all suffer defensively to a certain degree. Some more than others. But if offense is what dominates the NBA games, I think losing the facilitator of your offense, I think, is worse than what you would lose defensively for Denver. I think that will impact them more than whatever little defensive, loss they didn't have.
I think the last 3 champions or last 4 have been all top 3 defensive teams, right?
Right.
So we can't diminish the defensive.
I'm going to use a math problem that we did. We used it when we did Draymond Green and the comparison with Draymond Green and Dennis Rodman. All right. Okay, so let's say offensively, Joker is a 10. Okay, because he's a three-tier player. Assist, let's say he's all around, right?
He can rebound. Triple.
Yeah, right. Let's say Embiid is a 9. I would say he's a 9 because maybe the offense level isn't there. Maybe 8, 9. Okay. So let's compare those 2 numbers: 10 into an 8. Defensively, I would give Joker a grade of what? 4. About 5. Average
5 at best.
Average 5, yeah. Average defender. Average defender.
A score of about 8, 9. 8. I'm giving him an 8. 8 and 9. 8 and 9 is what? 17, right? You know what I mean? And this guy over here is 10 and 4 is 14.
That's just
If you use that scale like that, you know what I'm saying?
math, though. That's just you adding up numbers. That doesn't translate to the court.
No, what I'm saying is that
I get what you're saying. You're assessing the skill sets.
If you give defensive value, I think to me it would kind of like offset, because even if you give him credit for being a facilitator and giving him a better, a higher grade for that, I think the defensive prowess that this guy has.
I'm not arguing prowess. I'm saying Denver losing their offense is worse than the defensive losses that the other two teams may take by losing those two guys for Denver. Because they're still going to play their offense. They're still going to shoot up shots. All three teams, that's what the NBA is. That's what Milwaukee does. And that's what Philly does. That's what all NBAs do is just shoot jumpers and shoot jumpers and shoot jumpers. So Jokic is not – you're right. Jokic is not defending anybody because, number one, he's not that elite. And number two, who's he really defending? But if he's the facilitator of that offense and those guys can't get their shots because he's not facilitating, I think that will mess with them more eventually than any defensive losses the other two will get. And I'm not saying by a long shot, but I just think that will win out. And that can cost Denver their position.
They could.
Because you have to look at what would they lose. They would have been the top seed all year. What does that mean if they lose the top seed, given how close the West is?
Yeah. What do you call it? Back to the Knicks. So, yeah, my man, keep the ball out of Randall's hand in the last couple of minutes.
Facts, please. Can we
Why is Randall handling the ball in the end of the and every time I look at Barrett, or every time they flash his face on the screen.
You see Donovan Mitchell?
Yes. God damn it, we could have had fucking Donovan Mitchell. This piece of shit is out here. Not that he's a piece of shit, because he's not a piece of shit, but
he's not a piece of shit. He's just you could always find another another RJ Barrett,
He disappears, man. Yo, and then you look at Mitchell damn near dropping 70. You're like, oh my God, bro. Imagine him, Brunson, even with Randall. I'll take him with Randall. Like, you know what I mean? That would have been a nice. Oh my God,
but
bro.
Listen, man. Got to just still give props to the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? They're
gonna see Cleveland. That's what they're probably gonna see in the first round.
And that's okay. I just like the fact that they're competitive every single game. Like every single game, we've seen the growth of Emmanuel quickly, you know, and he's up there right now for the sixth player of the year, the sixth man of the year award. So, if we could keep this up, man, as a Knicks fan, I'm just enjoying it. They're winning, and that's all I can ask for.
That's all you can do. You're right. That's all you can do. You can't. You know what I'm saying? What are we gonna do? Fucking bitch and moan when we lose, bitch and moan when we win. At least we're competitive. We're in there every day. Shit, man. I'll tell you who to watch out for, bro. I don't care what anybody says. Those Warriors, when they play together, that shit's a work of art, bro. I was watching some highlights of them, man, and the way they can move without talking, like Steph gets the rebound, shoots it down court to Clay. Clay's coming down court. He doesn't even make he doesn't even do anything. He passes the ball to Draymond, and he kind of does his gesture. And as Clay comes around, you see Draymond just set his screen, and you're like, oh shit. And then they break it down. They're like, when he did this, he subtly told him without telling him set this screen, and the way they communicate without the ball, it's a thing of beauty, bro. I would like to see that shit.
God damn it.
I can't wait.
Why did Princeton go and mess up my fucking bracket?
Oh, you just found out? Jersey, baby.
No, I was just checking.
Jersey's in the house.
I was checking the standings. That was my only loss. I picked Furman to fucking beat Virginia.
Oh, wow.
I felt good about that one.
Miami, did they win?
I think Miami's playing soon.
Soon, yeah. So the last thing we had, just thoughts. This weekend, big UFC fight. Round 3, Usman and Edwards. What do you guys think?
I'm going to say this, bro. You don't get your ass beat for 3 rounds straight and just get caught. He got caught, bro. He got caught. It's not like this guy's just kryptonite. It's not like Adesanya Pereira. When I see Adesanya fight Pereira, I'm like, yo, dude, there's always a chance Pereira's going to knock him out. Always. In this particular case, if you saw fight number 1, end up buying you, there's been a huge evolution in both their games. But I was watching a guy that dominated that fight, and he got sloppy.
Yeah.
He dominated that fight, and he got sloppy. He put his hands down. This guy fainted him, and because he was defeated. And in the corner, they would just be like they were basically begging him, Like, yo, give me something. Give me something, bro. You're done. Give me something. And he just, out of desperation, gave him that fucking kick to the face, knocked him out cold. Now, I don't think Kamara's going to make that mistake again. I think that he's going to come, press him against the fence. He's not going to rely on his striking like he did before, and he's really going to go back to home base, and he's going to
wrestle him down.
Ground and pound him and beat the dog shit out of Leon Edwards. I love Leon Edwards, but I think he's going to beat the shit out.
I mean, obviously, no one disagrees that Usman was winning that fight, beating him up. Edwards had moments, whether it was on the ground or standing up, that you could say, okay, well, if you can implement that better, you have a chance. You're thinking that, right? You're like, okay, you're switching positions. You're going unorthodox. You're flipping your feet. He's trying to set shit up. Wasn't necessarily working all the time, most of the time, but you saw that possibility there. And I think that's really the same strategy you got to kind of take. You got to try to set him up. And I think you're right. The only way he has a chance is if he catches him again somehow. But the fact of the matter is, don't get yourself to a desperation point. Strategize to find an opening and take it if you see it. But if not, I think it will be Usman just beating him overall. And it honestly wouldn't surprise me if Usman just ends up fucking taking him out just because. But and to Danny's comment, I just saw, it was a good first round. I think he ended up winning that first round, I believe, right? He barely, or like with a wrestling move, I think he got it. But he's got to just try to find the opening. He's got to create the opening, find an opening, and take him down.
I'll tell you what I'm feeling, but I failed to take into account the psychological aspect, man. Like I could tell you that technically what I thought, but when you get that kind of knockout, bro, that person gets in your head, bro.
That was the only thing that I was gonna mention is like he did get knocked out though, and that mentally that's a mental thing for Usman to overcome.
Yeah,
he's always gonna have the in the back of his head, this guy could knock me out at any single moment.
Yeah,
so how aggressive is he gonna go try to kill Leon at this point?
Don't get caught early.
When you get caught, and when you start to be too overly cautious, is when you get caught, man. Because it puts you away from your game plan. So you start to do other shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you're careful and you're watching, and then before you know it, boop, you wake up in the ambulance like, hey, where am I? You know what I'm saying? Shit is no joke. Yeah, Gaethje's on that card. I like him. I like him for the win. There's a couple other.
I think that's really the main big two. As far as for me, you guys know that world more than I do, but
yeah, no, I'm not following this card like that. The card that I'm watching out for is the.
Well, after that, it's here, Miami.
Coming up, Pereira, Adesanya, and then and Masvidal versus Burns is coming up. That should be a good one. That should be a good card. All right, guys. Anybody else want to close anything? Any closing comments about any of the sports? Anything you guys got?
I got
talk about some broken brackets. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Avi.
Talking about, and I'm staying on that topic right there. Shout out to FDU, baby. That's my school. They got their W yesterday, so tomorrow they're gonna play Purdue. I know it's gonna be it's a huge battle, but let's go FDU, baby.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not us, right? Why not?
Yeah.
I think the school I picked now is, what do you call it? Seton Hall. What do you call it? A lot of big names not in the tournament this year. That's kind of crazy. North Carolina.
I don't want to talk about North Carolina.
I
don't want to talk about that, please. Jesus Christ, that was bad.
Beautiful.
Preseason number 1, and that is what you end up being.
That's great.
Does anyone have any sleepers here for Final Four? Any
I'll tell you who I have.
I'm pretty chalkish. I got Bama, Tennessee, Houston, and Gonzaga.
Oh, wait, that's not my bracket. That's
really right. Yeah. Alabama looked really good today. I'm gonna say look out for.
I got UConn in the Final Four, and I got UConn winning it. So that's my
UConn.
Dude, I had a hard time with UConn versus Kansas, bro. I wanted to put UConn on that so bad, man, because Big East. So
you guys don't have any Cinderellas getting into like the round of 16 or anything?
Let me see.
Does it pick any Cinderellas, bro? Drake over Miami, I'm telling you.
Not in this one. Not in the West.
I got A&M over Texas.
That's not really. Yeah, that's. I guess you can call them.
I've got Tennessee. I got no. I don't. Not in there.
Is that that's Tyson? Tyson got Creighton. It doesn't go
Yeah, I
crazy.
mean, I don't know, man. I'm pretty chalkish.
Yeah, I'm pretty chalkish too. I ended up being chalkish too.
Creighton, I got Creighton in the Sweet 16. I don't know how much of a that is, but I got them beating Baylor.
And even about Connecticut, even before I got to that Connecticut Kansas matchup, Jay, I kind of just had to think about St. Mary's because I have UConn playing them in the round of 32.
Yeah, so
Against
do
St.
I. Man.
Mary's.
That was a tough one.
That was. I mean, I had to think about that one. I was like,
there were some real tough pickings this game. Like TCU, Gonzaga. I mean, I can see TCU taking that easy. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of to Mike. This isn't your traditional.
It's a beatable team.
And even I have Marquette, Michigan State. You just never know with Michigan State, man. Like Izzo, he'll get those guys just to win a big game like that, and.
But then they can lose to USC.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They do that, but then put them against a top team, and then no, we'll beat them, no problem.
It's kind of like to Mike's point, though. You still have obviously your heavy hitters, but the teams at the top aren't your normal traditional teams.
No.
Like Houston, Alabama. Kansas. Obviously. Yeah, so
I do have San Diego State at the round of 16, but they'll lose to Alabama.
There's no
but it was easy for me to take San Diego State because I had Furman beating Virginia, and then I have San Diego State beating Furman. So I was like, oh yeah, they're going to the round of 16.
You picked Furman beating Virginia?
I did.
Really?
I did.
What the
because
hell?
I was watching the Daily Wager, and they were all picking Furman. They were all bet Furman on ESPN. I was like, all right, I'm gonna bet Furman because these are the Vegas guys talking. And I said, fuck it, I'm going with it.
Okay.
And it hit.
Good pick. That's a good pick if you pick that shit. All right, people. Well, we're coming up on an hour, and we'd like to keep it there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us. Make sure you click share, let your people know that we're on here. You can catch us every Thursday, 8:00. Where we bring us into our barbershop, we bring you into our living room, where we talk that ish from a different perspective, man. We don't hold back. Sometimes it's analytics, sometimes it's emotional, but we're gonna let you know how we feel, and we want to hear how you feel. I want to thank everybody that's here tonight, man. My boy Javito, my man Petey Pablo, my man Jay for coming through. Shout out to my man Akil and my man Andre out there that'll catch us up soon. Hopefully we'll get back on. They say Mark Twain says the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Sports is My Love Language podcast. I'm your host, Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic, a.k.a. the Feminist with Chauvinist Tendencies. And I want to thank you for helping us walk in our why. Have a good one, people. Peace.